Today we're going to take a look at setting up Feedly. We've said that our goal here is to have information find us rather than us having to go out and try to find pieces of information, something which none of us has time for. The thing is, we do have to go out and identify our sources. Find the blogs, the feeds that are coming from places that will give us the type of information that we need in our positions and to move forward. So let's take a look at Feedly here. What we'd like to find is a source that has a couple things going for it. Let me click open this one. One thing we need, of course, is we need something that brings us good information. And so we click on this source and we take a look at this particular post and we read and see what it's about. And in skimming through different collections of blog posts by different bloggers, we can start to kind of get a sense of which ones seem to have valid information, stuff that's going to help us, stuff that's going to support us, stuff that's going to keep us going. Ideally, what we'll find is that somewhere in the blog is this little symbol right here. This little orange square that has like these waves radiating up from the corner. That is actually the symbol for an RSS feed. If I want to take this and add it to Feedly so that these posts will show up in Feedly, all I have to do is click on that symbol. Now the screen I get makes it look like I've made a mistake. It says there's no RSS reader installed. Well, it doesn't know that we're using Feedly for our RSS reader, but that's okay. We can just add it manually to Feedly. The important part is that we've got an address, which if we look up here, starts with feed, it says feeds, it's got RSS in it. We can be pretty confident that this is going to be a blog post. All we need to do is select that address, copy it, pop into Feedly, go over here to the left, run our mouse over here until we can add content, and then we simply have to click in this area and paste it. And that will give us access to this blog post. Okay, good. But how do you find these? Well, in my experience, you can do a pretty good job by searching. What I do when I search for blog posts is I try to use two terms. I try to use blog and I try to use RSS. Because those are probably going to show up in every blog and they're not going to show up in very many things that aren't blogs. And then from there, my search terms need to be the area that I'm looking for, whether it be leadership or whether it be education or whether it be psychology or whether it be brain research. It's whatever topic I'm interested in. So let's say, for example, let's suppose that we go in here and we search for this with leadership. Okay, I'm going to hit return. And here are a bunch of blogs, even though I can't spell very well, dealing with leadership. One of the things that I have found is that if you keep your terms relatively general, lots of times someone will have gone in and looked at blogs that fit within this category and tried to evaluate them in terms of their value, in terms of their readership, things like that. That can save you a lot of time. Notice here we've got a list of the top 50 leadership blogs. Sounds like a plan. I'm going to click on that. And what I get is a list. And it says here that BlogRank has used over 20 different factors to rank these blogs. That sounds like a pretty thorough thing. And I'm going to look down through here then, and I'm going to look at the names of these different blogs. And, you know, obviously there's a lot of them. And let's suppose I find one that strikes my eye, you know, something like, let's say, managingcommunities.com. That sounds interesting. Now, I can do one of two things. Over here, I've got my RSS feed connection. I can simply click on this and copy the address. The other thing, though, is that if I come back here and I click on this link, I can actually go into this blog and I can take a look at what's being posted. Okay? I can go down through here, you know, here's a posting followed by another posting followed by another posting, and I can read the kinds of things that this person is covering and talking about and so on. If I decide that this is a good blog, one that I would like to follow, that this person has something of value to me to say, I'll go up here to the RSS symbol, I'll click on it. Again, main thing is I need the address. Select it, copy it, pop back into Feedly, go into this field, paste it. Comes up. It's interesting, I've got a couple things here. One is one reader, and this one has 161 readers. This is what I'm looking for. I'll click on it. I look down through. These are the most recent blog posts. Obviously, this blogger posts relatively often, which is good, so I'm going to add it to my Feedly. I'll click here, and I either have it, if I want to, I can put it in a category. Like this is a leadership blog, so maybe I would put it in adaptive and fierce leadership. And then I would come down here and click add. And now it's part of my blog. Okay, let's go back and do some more searching. Let's use the same ideas here as far as blog and RSS, and maybe I'll even go ahead and correct the spelling. But instead of leadership, I'm going to look at education. Actually, I'm going to go a little farther. I'm going to look for educational leadership. Now, here's the thing. If I put in educational leadership, it's going to look for any blogs that have the word educational and any blogs that have the word leadership. If I want the phrase educational leadership, then what I have to do is I have to put that within quotations. And then it will look for that text string, educational leadership. Boom, no problem. Here we go. Lots of blogs dealing with educational leadership. And I'm looking down through here. And I noticed, yep, here's another one. 50 best blogs for educational leaders. Okay, let's click and take a look. Okay, now this is just one person's opinion. Okay, this is not an organization. This is one person who writes to share ideas, and these are the ones she has found really helpful. Now, as I look down through here, Cool Cat Teacher Blog is one I'm familiar with. 2 Cents Worth is one that I follow. And as I go down through here, I see these blogs, and these deal certainly with education and educational leaders. I'm not sure that it's educational leadership. But anyway, let's take a look at one. Let's suppose this one sounds good, the next generation of educational leadership. So I click on it. Okay, and I look down through here, 5 ways to build engagement, quick lesson. Anyway, you can read these. And maybe I say, okay, sounds good. I've got a lot of symbols here for sharing this particular article or blog post, but if I go up here, here's the subscribe to this blog. Right here. So I click on this, and what I get, again, feeds.feedburner. This has got to be a feed for sure. Select it, copy it, hit Feedly, over here, select this field, paste, give it a second to bring it up, next generation of, boom, 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 here's all these, okay. I say I'll add it to my Feedly. Maybe it goes under the category of education, and I add it. Okay. This is kind of the route that I follow when I'm trying to identify blogs. The other thing I run into is when I'm reading through different blog posts and articles, I'll find links and references to other people's blogs. And when I do that, I lots of times click on that. I'll read that post. I'll say, that's interesting. I'll go out to the site for that blog. I'll read the other posts they've put. I'll say, yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I'll go with that. Now, sometimes what will happen is I'll come across something like this that doesn't necessarily qualify as a blog. It's just a blog article. I'll click on it and I'll come up and it'll have good stuff here. Educational leadership tips and tricks. Okay. Tips and tricks. Okay. If I'm here and I don't see a link for an RSS feed, okay, what I can do lots of times is come up here and just copy this anyway. Okay, copy this address, go into Feedly, drop this into my add content area, And what Feedly will do is Feedly will actually lots of times what is the blog and what isn't. Notice here I've got one reader, I've got Powerful Learning Practice, 389 readers. So I'm going to click on it. And it brings it up. So even though I haven't clicked on the link for the RSS feed, though as long as I can get an address of a site that I know blogs, I can drop it into Feedly, and Feedly will figure out what the RSS feed is, and it'll bring it up. And then I can just click Add to my Feedly. I'm not going to categorize this one. I'm just going to hit Add, and it'll drop this in here. So, in summation, I will include in this assignment some links to some sites that evaluate different groups of blogs, be they leadership, education, psychology, etc. But one of the best ways I find to find a good blog is to go out, use the terms blog, RSS, and then the category that you're specifically looking for. Paste that in, do a search, see what's there. Pretty much if you use blog and RSS in your search terms, pretty much everything you get will be a blog, and then it's just sorting through all the stuff that you think looks like it could be valuable and adding those into Feedly into your blog. And so when you get done, you should be able to go in here and go to My Feedly, and especially if I go down to the index, I can take a look at all the kinds of things I have, and if I have things categorized, I can see which categories they're in. And the next video, we'll talk about whether or not we want to categorize things within Feedly.